absurd statement. Just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baxter is the man.
I'll be watching this one at Twickenham.
Will you?
With Andy Good. Andy
Will
Good.
you?
Me and Andy Good are hosting the BT stage in the West
Oh,
Car Park.
wow.
So come and say hello, come and see us. Little pod crossover.
Pod crossover.
Yeah.
Not only that, did you see the Green Bay Packers tweet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With David Bakhtari
Bakhtari
and Aaron Rodgers.
destroying Aaron Rodgers in basically a pint race, which is exactly how it would go down if us and the rugby pod happened to face off. And maybe on that stage, you should teach Goody a bit of a lesson, mate.
That was unfair. That was a grotesquely unfair mismatch that should never have been allowed to take place.
Yeah, well, there you go. You can throw down the gauntlet to Goody when you see him.
Well, yeah. I mean, actually, I think one of the last times that I properly dusted off my pint was the last Premiership final night, because basically word's been slowly getting around with my BT colleagues. I haven't been bragging about it, but on the odd night out in Belfast earlier last season, it came out.
Good.
And then word gets around.
Let's get around.
And then by the time it was after the Premiership final, there's always there's always a wrap party where it's like end of season, loads of beers. So,
I'd go and watch that show hosted by you and Goody just to watch you two fight over mic time.
I'm very generous. I'm there as the host. I'm the background. It's like my job's actually for people to
make other people better.
Invisible.
Can it? You're
Make other people better.
You're like the Danny Cipriani. you make people around you better.
Yes, I'm gonna wear mitts.
Yeah,
for my mic.
Slip mitts.
Yeah, totally.
Excellent.
It should be a great final. The last few years as well, it's been scorchingly hot. I hope it's the same. I hope it's the same.
It has been good weather.
First time the Premiership finals drifted into June.
That reminds me. Me and JB were in the hot seat.
Oh my
on
God!
Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Which is so that in Twickenham for the sevens, there's a little strip pitch side with some couches, a nice little bar. You could get a burger or anything if you want it. So we had 2 games pitch side.
Say you had 2 burgers.
No.
I had multiple.
We had
multiple
lots of food.
macaroni cheese pies though.
And chili. I keep saying chili feast steak. Philly cheesesteak pies.
Goodness me! I
They
mean,
were
they're 2
so
very
good.
fine pies, but oh my word, a macaroni cheese pie is out of this world.
But we were in the hot
Anyway.
seat. It's possibly the hottest place I've ever been.
Yeah, I'd
in
do
the
that.
UK.
Yeah.
So we were wearing our tweed, and we caught it wrong. So it was about 2:00 in the afternoon, and the sun was baking down. It was like someone had a magnifying glass over that little spot.
It was a form of rugby torture, warm rugby torture. It was
We did have. Was it?
It's a
then-
first world problem. The way you've described it is a slight
Oh,
first world
yeah.
problem.
And I mean,
couldn't even
It's like
concentrate.
being
they
sat pitch side on a sofa being fed free booze and food.
Tim, they literally could not pour the Pims fast enough for us to stay cool.
Yeah. It was so hot. I was struggling to listen to the conversation I was having with Brian Habana. The only reason I managed to focus on it, right, was because he mentioned Faf de Klerk. And I like to talk about Faf de Klerk, but even that was difficult.
Oh, Faffy.
Yeah, Faffy, as I like to call him.
Yes. So where were we?
Yeah, so it's going to be in Twickenham.
Yes.
Exeter presumably will have home changing room and first choice of stash.
Okay.
So if you were, bearing in mind it might be hot, go with the white kit.
Definitely the white
Oh,
kit.
yeah, great
And
shout.
Saracens get red or black. They get to choose.
Yeah. Yeah, the red, is there the European kit?
Hang on a
Or is it
minute,
just a
that isn't
second
how it
strip?
works. If you're the home team, surely you don't get to choose your kit. Because it's always the alternative strip at home. So presumably Saracens get to pick.
Well,
that's how it should
Exeter
be.
have worn white the last couple of years, haven't they, when they finished top of the table?
Yeah, but that shouldn't be the case. If it's an Exeter home game, notionally speaking, Saracens should be
I
choosing the
don't think
kit.
it works home and away. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure. Anyway, regardless, it's not going to be that hot. Well, I hope it is, but anyway.
It is that hot. It is that hot there.
So, let's put these 2 teams together, match them up, maybe pick a 15 between them, and then pick the bones out of how each team goes about winning and where the dangers are. So, if you were going to assemble a pack out of these 2 squads, would you go with Moon or Barrington? Bearing in mind, Macavinapola is not going to be available.
Moon?
It would be Moon.
Moon, yeah.
England, because Barrington's eligible for England.
Yeah.
Never been picked up. Moon and Hepburn both have.
George, Luke Cowan-Dickie, that's easy.
Jamie George.
As it is with England, Jamie George.
Yeah. It's hard to say no.
Or
Isn't it?
Yendall, to be fair, who started. And then you've got Harry Williams or
Vincent Koch.
Vincent Koch.
I would do it a different way, Tim. How about this?
We'll take
Don't-
the unit.
Yeah, don't pick the players, pick the units.
Pick the
So
unit,
it'd
okay.
definitely be extra front
All
row
right.
in that regard.
Would it? Okay.
For me, it would.
It probably would
Yeah,
now,
it
but
would.
bearing in mind,
It would.
no Mako.
Yes. Extra front row.
Yeah.
Fine. Locks.
Goodness me, if there is
Cruz
a
and
better,
Skelton or... it's going to be Cruz and Skelton, isn't it?
well, if there's a better set of locks in the world, if there's a club with a better set of locks, I would like to know who they are.
Yeah.
So Saracens in the engine room. Back row then. Which back row do you pick? Billy, Jackson Ray, and Maro Itoje, or Don Armand, Matt Kovacic, and
Dave Ewers.
Dave
Big
Ewers.
Dave. It's
You go Saracens, don't you?
yeah.
It's a coin flip. It really is.
That
But
Exeter back row's playing well, but
Would you put an
Saracens-
extra player into the Saracens back row if you had the chance?
I'd pick Don
I
Armand from
could
us any
possibly go
team.
for Don Armand over Jackson Ray.
Thing is, though, Don
Yeah.
Armand is a fantastic player. You might argue, though, even though he's been playing better and he's more consistent, got years and years under his belt now, at being great. You might argue that Dave Ewers is the naturally more talented man.
Maybe.
He's certainly bigger. Just.
Certainly.
Yeah. I was going to say that they're both enormous. Is he bigger?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Dave Ewers is bigger.
Certainly naturally more curved back.
Yes.
If Dave Ewers stood up straight or had a
They're
proper
both-
posture, he'd be about 4 inches taller.
Just imagine if Zimbabwe actually had a rugby team. My word. My word.
They'd have too many back row players.
If that's possible, they'd be
They'd
like
have to convert Don
they'd-
Armand to a lock.
they'd
to
be like
get
Northampton
Pocock.
Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a coin flip for me.
So that bearing in mind what we said on the last podcast about how dominant and how powerful the packs were, and that for 80 minutes even Gloucester couldn't live with Saracens, and even Northampton couldn't live with Exeter.
Well, there are other things to consider, aren't there?
There
I
are
mean,
other things to consider, but that's pretty ominous from Exeter's point of view. That
Yeah, but it's a more. I mean, there's more to it, isn't it? It's like, the cohesion of the unit and this, that, and the other. And I think that Exeter are far in advance of where Gloucester are, and they do things slightly different to what Saracens do. I mean, it's a pretty even matchup, I think. Or is it? I don't know. I don't know.
it begins to sound less balanced when you go through. But then we've always said it about Exeter, that they are greater than the sum of their parts. But
Yes,
then
they are, yeah.
then I actually think Saracens are greater than some of their parts, as well as being incredible individuals.
I agree with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the backs, I'm not sure who I pick.
Well, halfbacks, obviously, you'd go Spencer Farrell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ben White's very good. I mean, let's not gloss over him.
Nick
Hey,
White.
Nick White.
Sorry.
Ben White's Leicester. Rough.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, Nick White is very good. And, if he was in Australia, I think he'd be the Australian number 9. In fact, I think they are looking to bring him into the training squad, are they
I
not?
think they are. How are they going to manage to get Will Skelton in? Because they've got to.
Yeah.
They've got to.
Yeah.
So,
Skelton has to go to the World Cup, the way he's playing at the moment.
Yeah, I would probably. I don't know. I mean, you got to give Ben Spencer the nod. Give Owen Farrell the nod.
Give Owen Farrell the nod. It's very good of you, JB, to,
But, like,
to
it's
give
one of
Owen
those-
Farrell the
It's
nod.
just not. It's just a bad way to decide which is the best team, because it's about the team.
Well, centres, you take Exeter in the midfield.
I wouldn't. I'd take Brad Barrett.
Devoto and Slade. Barrett's not going to be fit.
Is that for definite?
Definite.
All right.
Hamstring injury. So it'll be Tompkins
Try scoring
and
Tompkins.
Lazowski.
Lazowski can play a bit though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The two of them.
Devoto and Slade.
I think Devoto and Slade are probably the best centre partnership in the league
why is
this
that?
year, because of they've had the consistency and the performances.
Devoto would be my next guy on the pecking list. If I was picking England tomorrow, it would be Brad Barrett, and then it'd be Devoto.
Well,
Fact that-
Devoto was in the Six Nations squad, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah, he never played, but he was in the wider training squad.
Insane, absolute insanity. But they don't fit the Eddie Jones mold, do they? They're basically.
Well, Devoto clearly does.
Well, he's not played.
No.
No, but he's in the
Next cab
squad.
off the rank.
Do you reckon he is?
Well, clearly he was in the Six Nations squad.
I think they would go. I think they would find another guy. I think they'd find Manu Tuolangi Mark 3 or Teo Mark 2. That's what I think they would do. But yeah, okay. I don't think that they're playing.
Out of interest, who would that be?
Jamie Roberts. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Who would that be?
He'll throw a curveball. No, he'll go.
Mark Jennings? I don't know.
The white Bastero.
Yeah, Bastard. I mean, the only other guy I'd look at for England, not that we're talking about England, would be Ryan Mills. I think Ryan Mills is probably pushing, but anyway, enough of that.
So the Exeter Chiefs midfield, the wingers. I mean, it was a bold call for Rob Baxter to put Tom O'Flaherty over Ollie Woodburn
And Cuthbert over Ollie Woodburn.
Cuthbert over Woodburn.
So Flattery's one I really struggle with. I saw him, I think, on his debut against Harlequins, and I thought this guy is not good enough. And I've seen him since, and I've always thought this guy is not good enough. And then in the semi-final, he scores a wonder try. Maybe he's good enough. I mean, is he as good as those other boys? I don't know, but there again, that's why Rob Baxter's amazing.
Yeah, did you hear Baxter's comments about him after the game? Baxter said he's not necessarily had the best performances in the last few weeks, but he said O'Flaherty has been training phenomenally well, both in terms of the quality of his performances, but also the attitude he's been bringing. And so Baxter wanted to give him the shot, and O'Flaherty, I mean, he got a yellow card, which was a little bit unlucky for him to get the yellow card, but he got a yellow card, but was more than vindicated Baxter's decision.
But you can't. But geez, Mates, Williams, Good.
Yeah, that's your back three.
Frightening back three. Even if you were picking them all head to head, you go with those three.
You would do.
Hard to disagree.
Woodburn, he's not had the season like last season. I mean, last season he was just phenomenal.
Oh no, sorry. Would you go Noel over Maitland?
No,
I'm not even sure you would.
no, and I'll tell you why. Because
if you're picking as a unit, obviously not. But if you're picking as individuals, possibly, because Noel does things that other wingers can't do.
Yeah, actually.
So Noel is busy working in midfield, isn't he, doing those sort of things? Whereas Maitland is busy chasing kicks, using his height, trying to knock things back. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought you were putting it...
No, sorry. No, you're right. They do very different things.
They do very different things.
It's interesting, actually. If Woodburn had the season he had last season, and if Cordero was fit, which he might be, I'm sure I read something saying he might be fit. I might be totally wrong. But that is a bloody... Noel, Woodburn, Cordero is a bloody dangerous back three.
So actually, Woodburn is the guy who is more likely to challenge Maitland.
Yeah,
they are actually more similar than...
completely agree with that.
Cordero.
Yeah, I agree with that. And how it's sort of coming round to drawing a line under that, I think what concerns me is that are Exeter going to have, exactly as you say, if they had Noel, Woodburn and on top form and Cordero playing, fit, then I think they would have a response and they would make Saracens think enough about, do we really want to kick him the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because geez, they can punish us if they get a sniff. I don't know if Exeter quite have that.
No, I don't think they do
in
either,
their
actually.
locker.
If you just kick the ball to Ollie Woodburn, do you think he's going to hurt you from deep? Probably not. I think the same about Maitland. Probably not. Liam Williams definitely. Goody definitely.
Cordero definitely.
Cordero definitely.
Noel.
And, Noel, and maybe a Flattery or whatever his
So
name is.
basically, I think it is if Spencer and Farrell dictate and are able to have time that they want to kick, then Saracens are going to dominate. But I think so. Exeter have to get to Spencer to disrupt Farrell, to disrupt Spencer's own kicking game. To then maybe when the kicks do go Exeter's way, they're a little bit deeper. They're a little bit. They can't chase it quite as well, and you create a little bit of space. I'm starting to worry that this is going to be maybe even more one-sided than last year's final was.
No.
Well, I don't know.
27-10, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't see it being... I just can't see it being that one-sided. I can see it being... Because exactly as you're saying, if Exeter can disrupt, I think they will do. I think that pack is big enough to disrupt at scrum time, to make a mess of lineups, and to really challenge at the breakdown.
Yeah, I
the same way that Leinster did for not all of the game, but a lot of the game.
But I would say, so 30 minutes, Leinster looked great. But if you look at that from another point of view, Leinster didn't score a point for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Saracens were on a pitch with Leinster for 50 minutes and didn't let them score a single point.
And Leinster are a very good team to compare Exeter to, I think. Lots of multiple phases, very, very powerful team. I still think that Exeter are going to have an advantage over Saracens with their driving mauls. I don't think anyone challenges like Exeter do with driving mauls, and also that 5 meter pick and go game. Where it's going to be decided, I think, though, is that Saracens kicking game, because it just turns everything into an absolute lottery.
And another thing on Exeter's performance the last 2 weeks, the Saracens' fitness and cohesiveness gave them that 50 minutes, the latter 50 minutes of the game. Whereas Exeter, it's been in the second half of the last 2 weeks where they've really pulled away. Half time, it was anyone's game. So Exeter's, half of it is their actual physical fitness, half of it is their decision making. And by consistently making better decisions, you don't end up being as tired, and you end up having more left in the tank for the last 20, 30, 40 minutes. So I can't see Saracens running away with it. I think Saracens are favourite to me.
Yeah.
There is a question mark over how much has the last few weeks, particularly the mental up and down of the final and the mental up and down of the semi-final, how much has that taken out of Saracens? Because they're big games, big physical games. You've got to get up. You've got to switch on for big physical games. So it will take something out of Saracens. But they've been in this position so many times. The majority of the squad are 3 times European Champions Cup finals. European Champions Cup winners. They are multiple Premiership winners. So they've been here so many times.
When's the last time one of these two didn't win the Premiership? Was it 4 years ago or 5 years ago? Is it Leicester?
It was when Northampton won it in 2014.
Really?
Who won it first? Because there was the...
No, was it Harlequins in 2014? No, Harlequins was 2011 or 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah. Then Leicester won it when Hartley got sent off. That was 2013, wasn't it? Because that was before the Lions tour.
And then Northampton did win it.
Then did Northampton win it after
They beat
that?
Saracens.
Let's have a
Of
look.
all people.
Winners.
Was that the year when Saracens first won the Champions Cup?
Sorry, just give me 2
Saracens-
seconds.
Northampton, yeah, Northampton. It was Northampton after. So it did go Quins, Leicester, Northampton.
And then Saracens, Exeter, Saracens.
Saracens, Exeter, Saracens. Correct. Yeah.
Amazing.
And
Isn't it?
Exeter, this is their 4th consecutive final.
It's also Saracens' 4th consecutive final. So
No, because
Oh,
Exeter beat Wasps,
Wasps.
didn't they?
did they?
Yeah. Steenson's winning kick was against Wasps.
Right. Yes. Oh. Yeah.
But it is Saracens' 5th final in 6 years.
Pretty impressive, isn't it?
And they've won a trophy every single year. So even when they lost to Northampton, they didn't lose to Northampton, did they?
Oh, 2005, 2006.
Saracens did lose to
Oh,
Northampton.
they lost to Northampton, but they won the Champions Cup that year. And then they won the double. And then they lost to Exeter, but won the Champions Cup again.
Yeah.
Then they won the Premiership, but lost the Champions Cup in the quarterfinals to Leinster. And now they're on for a double again.
Yeah.
Just
So-
looking back, Leicester Tigers had 9 consecutive finals,
Wow.
including 4 wins
And a playoff appearance in every year except for last one and this one.
and this one.
And in 2006, 2005, 2006, who won it then?
2005-6.
Oh, sorry, 2006, 2007?
Well, 2006.
6-7 was
Sale.
Leicester.
Sale Sharks, it was Sale Sharks.
That was 5-6.
It's 6-7, wasn't it?
I'm looking at
5-6,
it. It was
I
5-6.
Oh, yeah. 5-6. You're right. It's how it's worded there.
They beat.
What does it say there that makes you think?
The way it's
didn't
kind
they
of
absolutely
formatted.
They pumped Gloucester. They absolutely pumped Gloucester in the final. Was that right?
It could have been.
Sale.
I remember.
Sale beat. I'm looking at it now.
Oh,
They'll beat
Leicester.
Leicester.
No, they
45-20.
pumped them,
Yeah.
I remember Gloucester getting absolutely pumped
That was by Leicester.
by Leicester because they.
with Alessandro Tuolangi just scored
That's right. So
running
if you-
over the top of them.
So if you remember, Leicester made big wingers really fashionable that year because they had Tuolangi on one side.
Well, I think
and then-
Jonah Loman might have done that.
Yeah. And on the other side, they had what's his name? The guy who sadly passed away.
Oh,
Rambenny.
Rambenny
Yeah.
on the other wing, and these guys wreaked havoc with Gloucester. So they went and bought Rambenny themselves, and they also bought Carl Price, and it worked out really well.
Leslie
And
Vainicolo.
Leslie Vainicolo.
Vainicolo.
It worked great. It worked really, really well. And that was Dean Ryan, of course.
Iron Lion, D and Ryan.
So predictions. Tim, you're saying Saracens win.
And yes, so here's the way I think the game's going to go. I think Exeter will do what they have done all year, and I think it was good to hear Matt Kovacic after the game saying what they didn't do last year was play the way they play. And I think it would be tempting when you play Saracens to sort of go, oh, Saracens do this, we better train to combat that. Well, actually, no, hold on, we finished top of the table. Just trust what we do. I think Exeter will do that, and that will mean they will take chances in their own half. Unfortunately, because they're up against Saracens, I think that's going to play into Saracens' hands, and they will pick off 3 points by winning penalties when Exeter are trying to play. Then Exeter have to play catch up, and I just worry that it's going to be a 20-odd point win to Saracens.
10-point win to Saracens.
I think I'd say 8 points to Saracens. Yeah.
I really, really hope I'm wrong, and I really, really hope it's close. And but it's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, it is interesting that. So everyone said the 2 best teams in Europe got to the final. They were fully deserved. Leinster and Saracens, by far the best 2 teams in the Premiership. The 2 best teams have got to the final, fully deserved. Both streets ahead over the full course of the season. They are a long way ahead of the next nearest team, as our next 2 nearest teams, as this weekend proved. So fully deserved by Saracens next to be an interesting final.
I hate this weekend because you look forward to it, and then it's over. The rugby's snatched away from you cruelly.
Well, now
rapidly.
There's no summer tours as well.
No summer tour. There's a Barbarians game. No one cares about that. And then we've got nothing.
Wow, that's loads of weeks to talk about all of those. We can get really deep into Dean Ryan.
Yeah. Super Rugby.
Yeah.
At least it's Rugby League. We can always, Rugby X, we can talk about that again.
Yeah, defo.
I can't believe we've got to wait until October to watch Rugby X in the flesh.
Well, we're having to spread out one other bit of content we had planned for this podcast because basically we are just waiting on a couple of technical details, website and things like that before we can actually officially announce our Negroni Party World Cup preview live podcast
/ JB 2020
/ JB 2020 RFU Council launch.
And it is at Twickenham, right?
It's at Twickenham.
It is actually at Twickenham.
It's actually yeah. When we say Twickenham, I mean it's in Twickenham, around the corner from the
It's
ground.
in the stadium.
It's going to be in the stadium at Twickenham.
Do you think we
at
can
live
sell
podcast.
out 80,000 seats? Do you think we've been ambitious?
Come on, us, you two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
So-
By all people I know, by all people you know.
Yes. So apologies we don't have the information right now, but we will be bringing that to you very, very soon. I need to go and work.
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll get out of here then. That's all.
I need to go to the gym.
Let's all leave. I've got nothing to do. I'm going to cut the grass.
Let the boys play.
That was fine.
Perfect.
Nice one. I can do the write-up and stuff when I get home.
Cool. See you, mate. Right.
You know what I want to do today?
Go on.
Build a model aircraft.
Oh, yes.
Or take my Warhammer to go and play a desktop game with some goons.
Yes.
I don't really have an army yet.
Oh, do you actually know some goons who you can play against?
No, you show up at
Oh, yeah, of course.
on Games Workshop table.
Give an absolute beatdown. I'm going to go to the gym and then try and explain the rules of rugby to Thomas again.
Oh, good.
He's not getting it.
Is he not? Idiots. Kids are idiots.
Exactly.
What is that? Start like that little. See you later.
See you later.